I will no longer tolerate any crap.
So moving on down to the base. As you can see, we still do have the SD card slot, which is not a thing that I'm a big fan of to begin with. I think manufacturers should use USB, but it is a lot better constructed than it was on the ANET ET4. This one is, like I said, the SD card slot, not just the SD card itself, is kind of sticking in between the metal plate here. With downforce you won't be able to pull it off, which is what will happen if you push these things in or out. You won't be able to pull it off of the mainboard. So that still is better, although I would have preferred it to be routed to the front. You can do that yourself with a ribbon extension cable, so I'll be doing that. But I think ANET should have done that. They also have a ribbon cable to the touchscreen, so why not have the SD card slot or the SD card reader onto the front panel where the touchscreen is? So that would be a whole lot user-friendly. Also, the stepper motors, they may look like the same as the one that are on the ANET ET4 Plus. They are not. They are a lot more quiet, so I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, and well, what can I say? On-off switch, power cable. Which brings me to the front of the Tron XY or Trony XY2-pro. Nice sturdy touchscreen, encased in a metal housing, also with the plate protecting the back. The way you tighten the belt is actually on the front on the Tron XY or Trony XY2-pro, is by you unscrew these bolts here, pull it to the front and reattach the screws so that it's not too tight, not overly tight, not too loose. That is actually a better position to tighten the belt than it is on the Labist or ANET ET4 printers, where you tighten them on the side, and that is less stable actually than this construction is. And that brings me to the hotbed. There's one small complaint I have about the hotbed, which is also not explained in the manual. It doesn't even mention or show it in the manual. When you go to the list of ingredients, you can see here's the hotbed sticker, which I did apply, but it also came with a flex plate. Now, the way you auto level this machine, and why this is so important, the automatic bed leveling is done with a metal detector, and the metal detector detects the aluminum plate. The thing is, if you try either a hardened glass plate or a flex bed, which is thicker than the sticker that came with it, the detector will not detect the aluminum plate, which results in the Z-axis going down and the hot end slamming its way into the hotbed. That happened to me on a few occasions as I was trying to level the bed, and I had to look it up, and Tron XY or Trony does not explain this in their manual. So yeah, I hope they are looking. I saw other YouTubers which had a small problem with the detector, that being that the screws came loose. They were cheap metal screws, and these are the better ones, so ANET did upgrade there. Also, I forgot to mention at the back, where the cable management is, some other reviewers had a lid which was 3D printed. Mine was all nice and metal, the same aluminum as this used throughout the whole build. The gantry is quite like ANET's printer, Ender 3 clone, which uses 2040s. However, the base of the whole unit uses really nice thick 4040s. It's really nice and strong and solid. I love it. Just straight off the box. Oh, this is an action camera, by the way. Straight off the box, it was just so much better than the ANET or Labest ET4 Plus. I just really had a bad experience with that. Now, to come back to the print, and well, this is going to be the money shot, really, because like I said, this is a sticker, and during my first, but also during my second print, which is this one, the first print was the one where the filament broke off in the extruder. On the second print, this one, at first I didn't stick this to the main bed because I didn't know how easy it would be to take it off again. But since the clips are only at the front and the back of the plate, it started to wobble in the middle. It just had a big air bubble underneath, which wasn't there when I started to print, but due to the hot bed and the temperatures started to rise. Basically, yeah, it all became all wobbly. Basically, that warped the bed. So I did let it finish the print, which for this small print took 12.5 hours. Yeah, so that's quite long. But it did recover at the top. It came out really nice at the top, except for the stringing. And also, I think the first time, but also the second time around, I did not have the bed leveling quite right. So that could have been more well adjusted. And the temperatures, I don't think were quite right. Since this is my first 3D printer, I'm not sure what caused the stringing and the warping of the layers that it prints. Also because I adjusted the temperature while it was printing, the temperature of the bed and the temperature of the hot end. So that might have something to do with it, but yeah, let's just, here comes the money shot. See what'll happen. How easy it'll come off. And I'm not just talking about the sticker, because that just came off really nice. The camera's not catching this right, sorry about that. Also, I hear a lot of people complaining about the print not sticking to the bed. The first print, which I had to abort since I had a filament problem, was really hard to take off. It was almost melted onto the sticker. But let's just see what it'll do now. If we can get it to come off just by bending the plate, and hopefully these will come loose, because mechanically these should be moving parts. But I think that they are printed stuck to each other, so I'm hoping that they won't break and will come off. And in fact, I'm hoping for them to come off all functioning. So this is the first time in my life I do this, so if I'm doing this completely wrong, you'll know why. At least it's not sticking as hard to the bed as the aborted print was, but that's probably because now it's nice and solid, and the first time it was just basically a few layers. Well, it is actually, except for this one. this one. Yeah, that's that. And that's that. Wow. That actually was easier than I had expected. Not sure if this is a support structure or I just broke off his trunk. Do octopuses even have a trunk? I don't know. Oh, sorry, that was outside the field of view again. As you can see on top, it came out really nice. It's just very smooth and all the way up to its legs. Yeah, which are in fact moving, except maybe for a few small parts at the end. Yeah, the last three are on this one they are maneuverable, on this one they aren't. So yeah, for my first print, which was badly adjusted, it actually recovered quite well. So yeah, I'm actually happy with that print. By the way, if anybody in the comments could tell me what it is that I did wrong, because I know for sure that it wasn't the printer that made the mistake, but it was me that caused the stringing and the layers that didn't attach, as you can see on the side here, caused that to happen. I would like to know, especially from someone who has one of these printers themselves. So, but I can probably guess it's temperature settings and bed leveling, so probably are the main culprit here. Also, if you would look at the bottom, you could see on this side it's nice. On this side you can see the layers aren't bonding. But overall, even though you might consider this a failed print, it's a successful one at that. That sounds a bit weird, but yeah, I'm still quite happy because I learned a few things at least. Back to the back side of things. For those who have seen my review on the Labist ANET ET4 Plus, they would know that I had a complaint about the cable that runs from the back to the hot end, which was not plugged. I understand now, because the plugs, they tend to melt as temperatures rise. So yeah, that is a better solution, to have it hot wired and soldered directly onto the main bed, which is what they did here as well. Also, a big difference between this hotbed and ANET's hotbed, and unfortunately I cannot get my camera any lower, so I'm hoping I can, by tilting, yes, you can see here, or maybe you cannot, but it is insulated. So temperatures on this headbed rise a lot faster than the one I had by ANET, the ET4 Plus. Also, this cable is a lot better. The one from the ET4 Plus was a really thick cable that just didn't have enough slack. It just didn't have enough give. So it was leaning onto the end level switch, and it could easily get stuck behind the stepper motor. And this one is just a small cable behind the stepper motor here, and doesn't get caught onto anything. The sound that you hear is actually the cable protector around it. So yeah, no problem with that. So in conclusion, would I recommend this printer to anyone? Sure as hell above the ANET 4 either by Labist or ANET, the ET4 Plus. Is it a entry-level printer? It is more than the ET4 because there wasn't even any adjusting to do. I didn't have to do any tightening. It was really just a matter of screwing the gantry onto the base, which is, like I said, a much nicer base. It's really strong, nice and heavy. The metal plated bases, if they're all metal plate, they could warp, even if there is a 40-40 or 20-40 structure underneath the metal plate, which will hold the gantry onto the base. Because the metal plates are between the support beams and the gantry, so that could potentially warp. And I just think that ANET or Labist or whoever makes the ET4 Plus series, not the Pro series by the way, probably, they just compromised it in ways it should not have been compromised. I understand that at this price point, because I got this at 130 euros and I ordered the ET4 Plus for 105. I understand that at that price point you reach a point where maybe you have to make decisions, but then you should ask yourself as a designer, should those decisions be made? Should you do any concessions or compromise? I don't think so. I think this got it almost right. It's just a few minor things. So is it a beginner's friendly printer? No, it's still not a beginner's printer, because if you would ask me, if you're a full noob beginner, or you just want a 3D printer to support your hobby, like, I don't know, you collect Transformers, or like I do, you're a big fan of the vintage Masters of the Universe, and you would like to 3D print a few small items that go with it, then a self-assembly or a part assembly or a kit is probably not the way to go. I would probably more recommend the Polaroid PlaySmart or the FlashForge Adventurer, or maybe even the longer Cube 2 Mini, if that's the name. I wouldn't recommend the EC3 printers that you see a lot on YouTube. They have the EC3 Nano or the X series, but those have really bad stepper motors. I mean, like the cheap Chinese remote control car kind of stepper motors, not the industrial stepper motors, which is something for stability and print quality you really do need. Is this an entry-level 3D printer? Yes, it is. But you should be expecting a bit more tinkering or problem solving than I did. I underestimated that a bit, actually, to be honest. But I think what I will do, there is on the website of Trony, you can order a magnetic sticker with a magnetic flex plate, a metal flex plate. So that will work with the metal detector for the bed leveling. I also found out that the best way, if you do not have those, is to level your bed with the assistance of the metal detector straight onto the aluminum plate, and then readjust manually with the sticker on top. It is a shame though that it doesn't work with hardened glass plates, because well, as you can see, I will take this with it again. This is not from the print I just took off. This is from the first one, the one that I aborted.